Have you ever wished you could snap your fingers and make your dreams come true? Well, what if I told you there's a way to do just that, without magic wands or fairy godmothers? It's called living in the end, and it's one of the most powerful ideas that can change your life forever. This isn't about daydreaming or wishful thinking. It's about becoming the person you want to be in your mind first. And the best part? Anyone can do it. Think about it for a moment. What if you could feel like $1,000,000 before you even had $1 in your bank account? Or what if you could feel the joy of your dream job before you even sent out a single application? That's what living in the end is all about. It's like having a secret superpower that can shape your reality. And today, we're going to dive deep into this life-changing concept. But here's the thing. This isn't just some fluffy, feel-good idea. It's a practical tool that's been used by some of the most successful people in the world. And it all starts with understanding one simple truth. Your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. In other words, what you see around you is a mirror of what's going on inside your head. Now, I know what you might be thinking. That sounds great, but how does it actually work? Well, that's exactly what we're going to explore in this video. We'll break down the ins and outs of living in the end, show you how to use it in your own life, and reveal why it's such a game changer when it comes to making your dreams a reality. Now let's talk about why this is so important. Here's the cold, hard truth. If you don't change how you think and feel inside, nothing outside will change. It's like trying to drive a car with the handbrake on. You might push the gas pedal as hard as you can, but you're not going to get very far. This idea of living in the end isn't just about positive thinking or repeating affirmations in the mirror. It goes much deeper than that. It asks you to face your own thoughts and feelings head on. And let's be honest, that can be pretty scary sometimes. We all have doubts, fears, and negative beliefs lurking in the corners of our minds. But if you're really ready for a big change in your life, you need to be willing to look at these things. Think about it this way. Have you ever known someone who seems to have everything going for them, but they're always complaining and never happy? Or maybe you've met someone who doesn't have much, but they're always cheerful and seem to attract good luck wherever they go. That's the power of our inner world at work. When you start living in the end, you're basically giving yourself a mental makeover. You're changing the way you see yourself and the world around you. And when you do that, something amazing happens. The world starts to change to match your new outlook. But here's the catch. It's not always easy. In fact, it can be downright challenging at times. You might have to confront some beliefs about yourself that you've held on to for years. You might have to push past fear and doubt. You might even feel a bit silly at first, acting as if you already have something you want. But let me tell you, the results are worth it. When you master this skill, you'll have a tool that can help you achieve just about anything you set your mind to. Whether you want a better job, a healthier body, more money, or deeper relationships, living in the end can help you get there. So, if you're ready to make some real changes in your life, not just surface-level stuff, but deep, lasting changes, then buckle up. We're about to embark on a journey that could completely transform your reality. Now that we've talked about why this is so important, let's dive into what living in the end actually means. Don't worry if it sounds a bit strange at first. By the end of this section, you'll have a clear understanding of this powerful technique. So, what exactly is living in the end? Simply put, it means feeling and acting as if your wish has already come true. It's like watching a movie where you're the star and you've already got what you want. But instead of just watching this movie, you're living it in your mind and your emotions. Let's break this down with an example. Imagine you want to be rich. Most people in this situation spend a lot of time thinking about how they don't have money, worrying about bills, or dreaming about what they'd do if they won the lottery. But when you're living in the end, you'd think and feel like a rich person now, not waiting until you have money in the bank. What would that look like? Well, you might walk with more confidence. You might feel a sense of ease when you think about money instead of stress or worry. You might start noticing opportunities that you overlooked before. You're not pretending or lying to yourself. You're simply aligning your thoughts and feelings with the reality you want to create. This idea comes from Neville Goddard, a spiritual teacher who believed that our imagination creates our reality. He taught that the world we see around us is actually a reflection of our inner thoughts and beliefs. So if we want to change our outer world, we need to start by changing our inner world. Think of it like this. Have you ever been in a bad mood and suddenly everything seems to go wrong? Maybe you stub your toe, then you spill your coffee, then you get stuck in traffic. It feels like the world is against you. But in reality, your bad mood is making you more likely to notice and remember the negative things that happen. Living in the end works the same way, but in reverse. When you start feeling and acting as if your dreams have come true, you become more likely to notice opportunities, more confident in taking action, and more resilient in the face of setbacks. But here's the key. It's not just about positive thinking. It's about creating a full sensory experience in your mind. When you're living in the end, you're not just thinking about what you want, you're seeing it, feeling it, hearing it, even smelling and tasting it, if that applies to your goal. For example, if your dream is to become a successful author, living in the end might involve imagining the weight of your published book in your hands. You might picture yourself at a book signing, hearing fans tell you how much they loved your work. You might feel the pride and satisfaction of seeing your name on the bestseller list. The more real you can make this experience in your mind, the more powerful it becomes. Your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. So when you consistently live in the end, you're actually training your subconscious to believe that you already have what you want. This might sound a bit out there, but it's actually based on how our brains work. Have you ever heard of athletes using visualization to improve their performance? It's the same principle. By vividly imagining themselves succeeding, they're actually creating neural pathways in their brain that make that success more likely when they actually compete. Now you might be wondering, if I'm imagining that I already have what I want, won't that make me complacent? Won't I just sit around daydreaming instead of taking action? That's a great question, and it brings us to an important point. Living in the end isn't about ignoring your current reality or avoiding taking action. Instead, it's about aligning your thoughts, feelings, and actions with your desired outcome. When you truly embody the person who has already achieved your goal, you'll naturally start taking the kinds of actions that person would take. Let's go back to our example of wanting to be rich. If you were truly living in the end as a wealthy person, you wouldn't just sit around imagining yourself with money. You'd start making decisions the way a wealthy person would. You might start learning about investing or looking for business opportunities. You might become more conscious of how you spend money, focusing on value rather than just price. In other words, living in the end isn't about denying your current reality. It's about bridging the gap between where you are and where you want to be. It's about becoming the person who can achieve your goals rather than just wishing for them to happen. Now, I know this might sound a bit abstract or even magical, but it's actually a very practical tool when you understand how to use it. In the next sections, we'll dive deeper into how you can apply this principle in your own life and why it's so effective at helping you achieve your goals. Remember, living in the end isn't about escaping reality, it's about creating a new reality. It's about harnessing the power of your mind to shape your experiences and attract the things you want. And the best part? Anyone can do it. It doesn't matter where you come from, what you've been through, or what you've achieved so far. This tool is available to everyone, and it has the power to completely transform your life. So are you ready to start living in the end and creating the life of your dreams? Let's keep going and explore how you can put this powerful principle into practice. Now that we understand what living in the end means, let's talk about why it works. This brings us to a fascinating concept that Neville Goddard taught: the idea that the world around us is like a mirror. But instead of reflecting our physical appearance, this mirror reflects what we believe about ourselves and the world. Think about that for a moment. Everything you see around you, your job, your relationships, your bank account, even the way people treat you, is all a reflection of your inner beliefs and attitudes. It's a pretty mind-blowing idea, isn't it? Let's break this down with an example. Have you ever known someone who always seems to have bad luck? Maybe they're always complaining about how nothing ever goes their way. They lose their keys, they miss important deadlines, they always end up in the slowest line at the grocery store. It seems like the world is against them, right? But here's the thing. According to the mirror principle, it's not that the world is against them. It's that they believe the world is against them. And so that's what they see reflected back at them. They're more likely to notice and remember the bad things that happen, and they might even unconsciously create situations that confirm their belief. On the flip side, think about someone you know who always seems to be lucky. They find money on the street, they always get the best parking spots, opportunities seem to fall into their lap. Are they really just lucky? Or is it possible that they believe good things happen to them, and so that's what they see reflected in their reality? This mirror principle is why living in the end is so powerful. When you change your inner world, your thoughts, beliefs, and feelings, the mirror of reality has no choice but to reflect that change back to you. It's like changing the image in front of a mirror. The reflection has to change too. Now you might be thinking, but I've had some negative beliefs for a long time and I've tried to change them before. It's not that easy. And you're right. It's not always easy to change our deeply held beliefs, but that's where living in the end comes in. When you practice living in the end, you're not just trying to change your thoughts on a surface level. You're creating a full sensory experience in your mind that aligns with your desired reality. And when you do this consistently, you start to change your beliefs at a deeper level. Let's say you want to become more confident. You could try repeating affirmations like, "I am confident," in the mirror every morning, and that might help a little bit. But when you live in the end, you go much deeper. You imagine in vivid detail what it feels like to be truly confident. How do you stand? How do you speak? How do you feel when you walk into a room? As you practice this, you're not just trying to convince yourself that you're confident. You're actually experiencing confidence in your mind and body. And guess what? Your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. So as far as your subconscious is concerned, you are becoming more confident. And here's where the mirror principle comes in. As you start to embody this confidence in your inner world, you'll start to see it reflected in your outer world. Maybe you'll notice that people respond to you differently. Maybe you'll find yourself speaking up more in meetings. Maybe you'll take on challenges that you would have avoided before. It's not that the world around you has suddenly changed. It's that you've changed how you see and interact with the world, and so your experiences change to match that. This mirror principle applies to everything in your life. If you believe that money is hard to come by, the mirror of reality will show you evidence of that belief. You might overlook opportunities to make money, or you might subconsciously sabotage your financial efforts. But if you start living in the end, as someone who easily attracts wealth, you'll start to see a different reflection. You might notice money-making opportunities that were always there, but that you overlooked before. You might find yourself making different decisions about how you use your money. You might even attract unexpected windfalls. Now, it's important to understand that this isn't about ignoring reality or pretending that everything is perfect when it's not. The mirror of reality reflects what you truly believe, not what you pretend to believe. That's why living in the end is about creating such a vivid and realistic experience in your mind that it changes your beliefs at a deep level. It's also not about blaming yourself for everything that happens in your life. We all face challenges and circumstances that are outside of our control. But the mirror principle suggests that how we respond to these circumstances, the meaning we give them, and the actions we take as a result is within our control. And that response shapes what we see reflected back to us. So how can you start using this mirror principle in your own life? The first step is to become aware of what you're currently seeing reflected back to you. Look at your life as it is right now. What patterns do you notice? What keeps showing up, whether it's positive or negative? Then ask yourself what beliefs these reflections might be pointing to. If you often feel like people don't listen to you, maybe there's a belief there about not being worthy of attention. If you always seem to be short on money at the end of the month, maybe there's a belief about money being scarce. Once you've identified these beliefs, you can start to change them using the living in the end technique. Create a vivid mental experience of the reality you want to see reflected back to you. Feel it, see it, hear it. Make it as real as possible in your mind. Remember, the mirror of reality doesn't judge. It doesn't decide whether you deserve good things or bad things. It simply reflects back what you hold in your mind. So why not hold something amazing? As you practice this, you'll likely start to notice small changes at first. Maybe you'll have a particularly good day where everything seems to go right. Maybe someone will give you an unexpected compliment that aligns with what you've been imagining. These small reflections are important. They're like the universe giving you a wink and a nod, saying, "Hey, I see what you're doing there. Keep it up." When you notice these small changes, celebrate them. They're proof that the mirror is working, that your inner change is being reflected in your outer world. Over time, as you continue to live in the end and align your thoughts, feelings, and actions with your desired reality, you'll start to see bigger changes. The reflection in the mirror of reality will shift more and more to match the image you're holding in your mind. This process can feel magical, but it's really just about aligning your inner and outer worlds. When you change what you're projecting, the reflection has to change too. It's as simple and as profound as that. So as we move forward, keep this mirror principle in mind. Remember that everything you see around you is a reflection of your inner world. And if you want to change what you see in the mirror of reality, you need to change the image you're projecting. In the next sections, we'll explore some practical ways to do just that. We'll look at how to effectively use the living in the end technique to change your inner world and how to navigate the challenges that might come up along the way. Remember, you have the power to shape your reality. You are the one standing in front of the mirror, choosing what image to project. So why not project something wonderful? Now that we understand the mirror principle, let's dive into the first key to making living in the end work for you: changing your self-image. This is where the real magic happens, and it's the foundation for everything else we'll discuss. Your self-image is exactly what it sounds like. It's how you see yourself. It's the story you tell yourself about who you are, what you're capable of, and what you deserve. And here's the thing: your self-image has a huge impact on your life. It affects how you act, how you interact with others, and even what opportunities you notice or ignore. Think about it this way: if you see yourself as shy and awkward, you're likely to act shy and awkward in social situations. You might avoid eye contact, speak softly, or hang back from conversations. And when you act that way, other people are likely to perceive you as shy and awkward, which reinforces your self-image. It's a cycle that can be hard to break. But what if you could change that self-image? What if, instead of seeing yourself as shy and awkward, you could see yourself as confident and charismatic? That's where living in the end comes in. To use this idea, you need to change how you see yourself. Don't just think about what you want. Be the person who already has it. This might sound simple, but it's incredibly powerful. When you change your self-image, you change everything. Here's how to do it. Ask yourself, how would I feel if I already had what I want? How would I act? Then start feeling and acting that way now. It's like putting on a new personality, like an actor getting into character. Let's say you want to be more successful in your career. Instead of focusing on all the reasons why you're not successful yet, imagine the version of you that has already achieved that success. How does that version of you carry themselves? How do they speak? How do they approach challenges? Maybe that successful version of you walks with more confidence, speaks with more authority, or approaches problems with a calm assurance that they'll find a solution. Start embodying those qualities now in your current life. This isn't about pretending or being fake. It's about aligning yourself with the person you want to become. It's about stepping into that role now rather than waiting for some external circumstance to change. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but I don't feel confident or successful. Won't I just be lying to myself? This is a common concern, but here's the truth. Your feelings follow your actions more often than the other way around. When you start acting like the person you want to be, you'll start feeling like that person too. Think about times when you've had to fake it till you make it. Maybe you were nervous about a job interview, but you put on a confident smile and gave firm handshakes. Chances are, after a few minutes of acting confident, you started to feel more confident too. That's because our brains are incredibly adaptable. When we consistently act in a certain way, our brains start to wire themselves to support that behavior. It's like creating a new habit. At first it feels unnatural, but over time it becomes second nature. So how do you put this into practice? Start by creating a clear image of the person you want to be. What qualities do they have? How do they spend their time? How do they treat themselves and others? Get as specific as you can. Then, start living as if you're already that person. If the successful version of you would wake up early to exercise, start doing that now. If they would speak up more in meetings, start doing that now. If they would treat themselves with more kindness and respect, start doing that now. Remember, this isn't about changing everything overnight. It's about making small, consistent changes that align with your desired self-image. Over time, these small changes add up to big transformations. As you do this, pay attention to how it feels. At first, it might feel a bit uncomfortable or even silly. That's normal. You're stretching yourself beyond your current self-image, and that can feel strange at first. But if you stick with it, you'll start to notice something amazing. It will begin to feel natural. You'll start to become the person you've been imagining. And here's where the mirror principle comes back into play. As you change your self-image, you'll start to see that new image reflected back to you in your life. People will start to treat you differently. Opportunities that align with your new self-image will start to appear. Your external world will begin to match your internal world. This process of changing your self-image is ongoing. It's not something you do once and then you're done. It's a practice, something you return to again and again as you continue to grow and evolve. So, are you ready to start changing your self-image? Take some time to really imagine the version of you that has already achieved your goals. How does that version of you think, feel, and act? Then, start bringing those qualities into your life right now. Remember, you're not waiting to become that person, you're choosing to be that person now. Now that we've talked about changing your self-image, let's move on to the second key: patience and faith. This might not sound as exciting as visualizing your dreams or changing your self-image, but trust me, it's just as important. Here's the thing about living in the end and changing your self-image. It works, but it doesn't always work instantly. Changes in the real world take time. You might not see results right away, and that's where patience and faith come in. Think of it like planting a seed. When you plant a seed in the ground, you don't see anything happen right away. If you dug it up every day to check on it, you'd probably damage the seed and prevent it from growing. Instead, you trust that it's growing beneath the surface, even when you can't see it. The same is true when you're working on manifesting your dreams. When you start living in the end and changing your self-image, you're planting seeds of change in your life. But just like real seeds, these changes need time to grow and develop. This is where a lot of people get tripped up. They start visualizing their goals and changing their self-image, but when they don't see immediate results, they give up. They think this isn't working, and they go back to their old ways of thinking and being. But here's the truth. Change is happening, even when you can't see it. Every time you choose to embody your new self-image, you're strengthening new neural pathways in your brain. Every time you choose to believe in your vision, even when circumstances don't seem to support it, you're building faith and resilience. First, remember that small changes add up. Look for tiny signs that things are shifting. Maybe you notice you're feeling a bit more confident in situations that used to make you nervous. Maybe you find yourself naturally making choices that align with your goals. These small changes are like the first tiny shoots of a plant breaking through the soil. They're signs that bigger changes are on the way. Second, keep your focus on your vision, not on the current circumstances. It's easy to get discouraged if you're constantly comparing where you are to where you want to be. Instead, keep your mind on the end result you're working towards. When challenges come up, and they will, see them as opportunities to practice being the person you're becoming, not as signs that it's not working. Third, trust the process. Remember, you're working with powerful principles here. Just because you can't see the changes happening doesn't mean they're not occurring. Trust that as you continue to align your thoughts, feelings, and actions with your desired reality, that reality will inevitably manifest. Fourth, be kind to yourself. This process of transformation isn't always easy. There will be days when it feels hard to maintain your new self-image or believe in your vision. That's okay. When those days come, treat yourself with compassion. Remember that you're doing something amazing. You're actively creating the life you want. Fifth, keep going. Consistency is key here. Even if you don't feel like it's working, even if you have doubts, keep practicing living in the end. Keep embodying your new self-image. The more consistent you are, the more powerful the results will be. Think of it like working out. If you go to the gym once, you're not going to see dramatic changes in your body. But if you keep going, day after day, week after week, you'll start to see amazing transformations. The same is true with this practice. Remember, faith isn't about ignoring reality or pretending everything is perfect. It's about holding onto your vision even when circumstances seem to contradict it. It's about knowing that change is possible and that you have the power to create it. And patience isn't about passively waiting for things to change. It's about actively working towards your goals while understanding that meaningful change takes time. It's about enjoying the journey, not just fixating on the destination. As you practice patience and faith, you might find that your relationship with time starts to change. Instead of feeling frustrated that things aren't happening fast enough, you might start to appreciate the process of growth and transformation. You might find joy in the small victories along the way, knowing that they're all part of the bigger picture. And here's something really cool. As you develop patience and faith, you're actually changing your vibration. You're shifting from a state of lack and desperation to a state of trust and abundance. And guess what? That shift in itself can help attract the things you want. So keep going, keep believing, keep embodying the person you want to be. The changes are happening even if you can't see them yet. Trust the process, have faith in your vision, and be patient with yourself and with life. Your persistence will pay off in ways you might not even be able to imagine right now. Now that we've covered changing your self-image and cultivating patience and faith, let's move on to the third key, focusing on the good. This might sound simple, but it's a powerful tool that can completely transform your experience of life and accelerate your manifestation process. Here's the thing. Our minds often focus on what we don't like or don't want. It's a survival mechanism. Our brains are wired to look out for potential threats or problems. But when it comes to creating the life we want, this tendency can actually work against us. Remember the mirror principle we talked about earlier? Well, it applies here too. The mirror of reality reflects what we focus on. So if we're constantly focusing on what's wrong, what we lack, or what we're afraid of, guess what? We'll see more of that reflected back to us in our lives. But here's the good news. We can change what we focus on, and when we do, we change what the mirror reflects back to us. This is why focusing on the good is so important when you're working on manifesting your dreams. Now, I want to be clear, focusing on the good doesn't mean ignoring problems or pretending everything is perfect when it's not. It's not about toxic positivity or denying reality. Instead, it's about intentionally shifting your attention to what's working, what you're grateful for, and what's aligning with your vision. First, start a gratitude practice. Every day, take a few minutes to think about or write down things you're grateful for. These can be big things, like your health or your relationships, or small things like a delicious cup of coffee or a beautiful sunset. The more you look for things to be grateful for, the more you'll find. Second, celebrate your wins, no matter how small. Did you take a step towards your goal today? Celebrate it. Did you handle a challenging situation better than you would have in the past? Celebrate that too. By acknowledging and celebrating your progress, you're reinforcing the belief that you're moving in the right direction. Third, look for evidence that supports your vision. If your goal is to become financially abundant, for example, start noticing instances of abundance in your life. Maybe you found $1 on the street, or maybe a friend treated you to lunch. These might seem like small things, but when you focus on them, you're aligning yourself with the energy of abundance. Fourth, reframe challenges as opportunities. When something doesn't go as planned, instead of seeing it as a setback, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How might this be helping me grow? This shift in perspective can turn obstacles into stepping stones. Fifth, surround yourself with positivity. This might mean spending time with supportive people, reading uplifting books, or listening to motivational podcasts. The more you immerse yourself in positive messages, the easier it becomes to maintain a positive focus. Now you might be thinking, but what if there's a lot of negative stuff happening in my life? How can I focus on the good then? This is a great question, and it brings up an important point. Focusing on the good doesn't mean ignoring problems or avoiding necessary action. If there are issues in your life that need to be addressed, by all means, address them. But as you do, keep your focus on the solution rather than the problem. Ask yourself, what do I want instead of this? How can I move towards that? Remember, where your attention goes, energy flows. When you focus on solutions and possibilities, you're more likely to find them. When you focus on what's good and what's working, you create more of that in your life. This practice of focusing on the good can create a positive cycle. As you focus on the positive aspects of your life, you'll likely start to feel better. When you feel better, you're more likely to take positive actions. Those positive actions lead to positive results, which give you more good things to focus on. It's an upward spiral that can totally transform your life. And here's something really powerful. As you get better at focusing on the good, you'll start to notice more good things in your life. It's not that more good things are necessarily happening, it's that you're becoming more attuned to them. You're training your brain to notice the positive, just like you might train a muscle at the gym. This shift in focus can have a huge impact on your manifestation process. When you're consistently focusing on what's good, what's working, and what you're grateful for, you're aligning yourself with the frequency of what you want to attract. You're telling the universe, yes, more of this, please. So, I encourage you to make focusing on the good a daily practice. Start your day by thinking about what you're looking forward to. End your day by reflecting on what went well. Throughout the day, catch yourself when you're focusing on the negative and gently shift your attention to something positive. Remember, this isn't about forcing yourself to be happy all the time or ignoring real problems. It's about intentionally directing your focus in a way that supports your growth and helps you manifest your desires. It's about choosing where to put your energy and attention. As you practice this, you might be surprised at how much good there is in your life that you've been overlooking. You might find yourself feeling more optimistic, more grateful, and more aligned with your goals. And that's when the real magic starts to happen. Now that we've explored focusing on the good, let's dive into the fourth and final key: understanding and reversing the mirror cycle. This concept is crucial because it shows us how we can actively shape our reality instead of passively reacting to it. The mirror cycle is the process by which our internal beliefs and attitudes are reflected in our external world, which then reinforces those internal beliefs. For most people, this cycle works like this. They observe their current reality, form beliefs based on that observation, and then see those beliefs reflected back to them, reinforcing the cycle. For example, let's say someone believes they're not good at public speaking. They might observe themselves stumbling over words in a presentation, which reinforces their belief that they're not good at it. This belief might cause them to feel nervous the next time they have to speak publicly, leading to another poor performance, further cementing their belief. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. But here's the exciting part. We can reverse this cycle. Instead of letting our observations dictate our beliefs, we can choose our beliefs first and then look for evidence to support them. This is where living in the end really comes into play. Start with the image. Instead of observing your current reality and forming beliefs based on that, start with the image of what you want to be true. Imagine yourself as you want to be, living the life you desire. Embody that image. Feel what it would feel like to be that person. Act as if you already are that person. This is where the self-image work we talked about earlier comes in. Look for confirmation. Instead of looking for evidence that supports your old beliefs, actively seek out evidence that confirms your new chosen reality. Remember, what you focus on expands. Reinforce the new belief. When you see evidence that supports your new belief, no matter how small, celebrate it. This reinforces the new belief and helps it grow stronger. Let's go back to our public speaking example. If someone wanted to reverse this cycle, they might start by imagining themselves as a confident, articulate speaker. They would then act as if they were already that person, perhaps by volunteering for speaking opportunities or practicing their skills more often. They would look for evidence that supports this new self-image. Maybe they receive a compliment on a point they made, or they notice that they felt more comfortable during their last presentation. By focusing on these positive aspects and celebrating them, they reinforce their new belief that they are indeed a capable public speaker. Now, it's important to note that this doesn't mean ignoring reality or pretending that everything is perfect. If there are areas where you need to improve, by all means, work on improving them. But do so from the perspective of someone who is already successful, who sees challenges as opportunities for growth rather than confirmations of inadequacy. This reversal of the mirror cycle is powerful because it puts you in the driver's seat of your life. Instead of passively reacting to what you see around you, you're actively creating your reality. You're choosing what to believe and then looking for evidence to support those beliefs. It might feel strange at first, almost like you're play acting, but remember, every new habit feels unnatural at the beginning. The key is to persist. The more you practice reversing the mirror cycle, the more natural it will become. And here's something amazing. As you consistently practice this, you'll start to see your external reality change to match your internal beliefs. It might start with small things at first. Maybe you'll have more good days, or you'll notice more opportunities coming your way. But over time, these changes can snowball into major transformations in your life. This process requires patience and persistence. You might not see dramatic changes overnight, but if you stick with it, consistently choosing to believe in your desired reality and looking for evidence to support it, you'll be amazed at how your life can transform. Remember, the world around you is a reflection of your inner world. By consciously choosing what you project into that mirror, you have the power to shape your reality in profound ways. We've covered a lot of ground in this exploration of Neville Goddard's living in the end principle. We've delved into the mirror principle, learned how to change our self-image, cultivated patience and faith, focused on the good, and discovered how to reverse the mirror cycle. These are powerful tools that have the potential to completely transform your life. But here's the thing, knowledge alone isn't enough. The real magic happens when you put these principles into practice. It's not always easy. There will be days when it feels challenging to maintain your new self-image or to keep believing in your vision when circumstances seem to contradict it. That's okay. Remember, this is a practice, and like any practice, it gets easier and more natural over time. The key is to be consistent. Even on days when you don't feel like it, choose to embody your desired reality. Choose to focus on the good. Choose to believe in your vision. These small daily choices add up to big changes over time. And remember, this isn't about reaching a specific goal and then being done. It's about ongoing growth and evolution. As you manifest one desire, you'll likely find new desires emerging. That's beautiful. It means you're expanding and evolving. Living in the end is really about living from a place of empowerment. It's about recognizing that you have the ability to shape your reality through your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. It's about taking responsibility for your life and actively creating the reality you want rather than passively accepting whatever comes your way. As you move forward with this practice, be kind to yourself. Celebrate your progress no matter how small it might seem. Trust the process, even when you can't see immediate results. And above all, enjoy the journey. The process of becoming the person you want to be can be incredibly fulfilling in itself. Remember, you are the author of your life story. With these tools, you have the power to write a story that inspires and excites you. So, what reality will you choose to live in? What version of yourself will you choose to be? The choice is yours, and the possibilities are limitless. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of living in the end. I hope these ideas inspire you to step into your power and create a life that truly lights you up. Here's to your journey of growth, manifestation, and transformation.